I love you all so much. I mean, this is what I love, is laughter. So here we are in the Wizard of Oz, in the Technicolor world of possibilities. And so let's look at those flying monkeys a little bit. So let me back up a little bit into what's going on with our friends. So what they've done is they've managed to get through the gates of the Emerald City, and they're now standing in front of the wizard. And there's the big head, and he's like, come in, I am the great and powerful Oz. And they're all standing there going, oh, not knowing what to do. However, each one of them has come with something. So the Scarecrow, when he sees that wonderful wizard, he sees balls of fire because, of course, all the shooting fire is going on, and he's thinking, well, 2 seconds of that, and I'm ashes. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. So the Tin Man, he's standing there, and he's thinking, this man really lacks compassion. Now, mind you, he's the one with missing the heart thing, right? And you're thinking, he's the one with the compassion, and he's the one that's looking at all of this going, okay, but, what's going on here? And then we've got, of course, our beloved cowardly lion. And he's terrified because, of course, he knows that face or that person or whatever's going on could consume him in just a matter of seconds. And then, of course, we have beloved Dorothy. And she's standing there, and she's thinking, oh, my gosh, not only am I not in Kansas anymore, but this reminds me of a stern, humorless, rigid authority figure that she fears back in Kansas. So each one of them have their issues that they're bringing to the wizard. And you think, okay, how is all this going to unfold? Because obviously this head, this man, is not a nice guy. And so in their conversation together, he gives them a small task. And he says, oh, by the way, since you've all come with a request, I'm giving you a request. I want you to bring me back the Wicked Witch's broomstick. Now, of course, they're looking at each other going, okay, but that probably means somebody's going to die on this journey. So, but we'll take it on, we'll do it, and we'll figure it out from here. So what happens in the story, when we looked a little bit deeper, it's called atonement. And atonement with characters in a myth and in a story is when they come to that threshold of where whatever is going on in their life, they are being presented with. They are having to confront it. It's like, okay, either I cross over and do this, or I light my hair on fire and run backwards. It's one of those. We can look at atonement actually at one-ment, which happens when we decide, you know what, I'm not in this alone. I have God, I've got spirit, whatever you want to call it, with me always. So what's happening is I'm not doing this alone. I've got help. So that's what the characters realize on some part of their journey, is that even though they're all together, they're doing this as one form, one energy to keep going forward. Most of us would look at this as a challenge and say, yeah, I got this. I might die, but yeah, I got this. We'll see. What happens is we don't really die, we get singed a little. And we grow past it, and we figure out, okay, whatever we've learned from that experience is giving us something else to grow strength upon. Ernest Holmes, our founder, said, our words should be the outcome of a deep inner conviction which goes beyond words, but which at the same time gives birth to them. So when we have a situation that we are confronting, we usually go to prayer, or at least that's a suggestion. And when we pray, it's so important to be convicted, to be grounded in what we truly want as an outcome. Our words have meaning. They're not just our Father who art in heaven, blah, 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 blah. No. It's, we feel it from the heart. We feel it actually from our toes. And we go all the way up into our head and we say, you know what? I got this. I know that everything is going to be okay. And what happens is we allow whatever that thing is to no longer have power over us. That little flying monkey that decided to come in, we're like, go away. You're no longer important to me. You don't mean anything to me. You know, and what we do is we look at things and we say, yeah, this came in. And yeah, it looks pretty bleak. It might look pretty much impossible for me to do whatever I'm going to do, but I'm a possibilitarian. I can do this, right? I'm a possibilitarian. Anything is possible. Everything I know I want to do, I can. Might have to go through a few things to get there, but I can do this. You know, it's so important when we are on these journeys. And in mythic structure, it's called the road of trials. And what that means for usually the character is it's going along a road and it's having to experience all kinds of different things. How many of us in our lifetime have experienced a lot of things, right? That has put us either forward, back, sideways, wherever. But we've ended up somewhere. And we've ended up a little bit more spiritual growth. What happens is we say, okay, does this define me? No, it doesn't define me because this is who I really am. I'm not going to allow whatever this is to bring me down. I'm going to actually rise up above it. I'm not going to allow it to carry me away. Because so often what happens is we decide that we are victims in whatever situation it is, because of course, God did this to me. You know, what did I do to deserve this? Because God obviously did this. Well, no, God did not do this to you. No, I want to get that really straight. Is we are human, we create our own experiences. So it's kind of like a domino effect. If you do something that you know might have a consequence, it might just happen. And then down the road you go, well, how did that happen? Well, let's go back to the beginning. Let's go back to the beginning and look at what we did. And if all of that lines up, then we go, okay, yeah, all right, I did it. I did it. So what is divinely orchestrated is our highest good. So what happens is the Spirit, God, whatever you want to call it, brings in helpers for us, gives us guidance. In fact, I love this quote by Pierre Teilhard de Chardin. He said, "We are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience." So we're soul having a human experience. When we are on these roads of twists and turns and having all these flying monkeys descend upon us, yeah, you know, we can get a little mixed up and we can wonder where we're going, you know, and I call that the monkey mind. The monkey mind is when things start getting confusing and we decide, oh, well, maybe I should be over here instead of over there. And oh yeah, you know, that laundry list that I have of things to do, and I'm in bed and I'm sleeping, and oh, you know, I've got this thing I've got to do. And have you been there? Yes. We're all of a sudden alive and going, and all of a sudden you can't sleep at night. And you're thinking, why can't I be silent? Because the monkey mind is going. And the other part of that monkey mind is it's telling you what you're not good at. It's telling you the things that are negative. And so you got to just cut that character right off. And you have to say, no. Wherever I am right now, I am good. And what I know I have left undone will be done. There's always tomorrow. It's like yesterday, Charles and I were on our way back home, and you know those little pink slips you get in the mail that you have to go to the post office and pick up a package? And I'm thinking, oh, it's Saturday. That means I have to wait all the way to Monday. And of course, it was like 3 o'clock, and I thought, oh no. But in Rio Rico, I think they close at noon. And I thought, okay, that means that I have to wait till Monday. And it was funny because I'm thinking, what did I order? So of course my little monkey mind, my monkey mind is going, oh, what could it be? I'm trying to do all the research, and good old Amazon, thank you God. They have a list of what you ordered. So I was able to go, oh, and I said, I didn't order anything. Did you order anything? So we figured out it was him. But that's how the mind goes, squirrel. That's exactly what we do. And we become dismantled. In fact, there's a part in the movie where the flying monkeys have come in and they've descended upon our friends, and they've lifted Dorothy and Toto up, and they've taken them away to the castle. And here's, the Cowardly Lion and the Tin Man and their Scarecrow, and they're trying to fight off the flying monkeys. Well, unfortunately, what happens is Scarecrow gets dismantled in the whole thing. He gets his legs over here, his torso's over there, and the Tin Man goes, "You're a mess," And he goes, "I know. Just put me back together and let's go get Dorothy." And what I loved about that is he wasn't focused on, oh my God, look at me, I'm a mess. I'm everywhere. I'm gone all over the universe here. And what's happened is he stayed focused on what was going on. And that was something that I really admired about the story, and I realized is that they weren't really victims. Each one of them required something that they wanted: a brain, a heart, and courage. But it was something that I think, and I know, that when we desire something, we know it's inside of us. But neither one of them felt a victim. What they did is they said, we're going to go forward, we're going to go to the castle, we're going to go to the wizard, and we're going to get this stuff. We're going to have all this stuff come true. We're all going to get this goal done. That we're going to be victorious. But sometimes, when we don't get to do that, we often ask our questions, why does this happen to me? Why did I get dismantled? Why did I get thrown off track? Why did my life not go in that direction that I wanted? Instead of the straight road, I had to take a curvy road. What's going on here? And why did I deserve this? Why did I deserve this? No way was I supposed to deserve this. I've been really good. I've been going to church. I've been, feeding the dogs. Whatever I've been doing. I've been a good person. So why am I experiencing this? Have you ever thought the reason why you're experiencing it is because you need to grow? You've been stagnant too long. What is going on is Spirit, God is saying, okay, my beloved, you need to experience this so that you can have a growth opportunity. Or as I call them, AFGOs, another fine growth opportunity. We are a divine child of God. And in some faith traditions, we are taught that we're not so, let's say we're not so divine. We're actually, I guess I'll say it, yes. We're part of that sinful crowd. And I've always thought, okay, that's self-inflicted nonsense in my life. But the other part of it is, how can we, when there's a God of love that exists, and we come from that seed of love, then how can we be born into something negative? How can we be already negative when we're not even here yet? Or when we get here, we're told that we're sinners or we're bad people because of that reason. And I'm thinking, we got it backwards. We are children of love. We are divine love. And that's what we're taught. And I think, why? Why can't we be taught that we're wonderful, we're positive, we're possibilitarians, we're good people instead of negative? I don't know how many of us are aware of have how much information on a daily basis that we are taught the negative energy. And to the point where I drive my husband crazy because there's some times where I don't even want to listen to the news because it's so down. You know, there's one of my favorite quotes by Scott Aubrey. He said, "By seeing ourselves as spiritual beings, we move from feeling like a victim and merely surviving to realizing that we have dominion over this life, and then to an understanding that we're not just controlling and manipulating the effects of our life, we're actually co-creating with the God self within us. Ultimately, as we come to the great awareness that the Father and I are one, or the Goddess and I are one, and there is only one life, and it is whole and complete." So I want to tell you all a story. It's about some swooping monkeys that came into my life recently in May. And I'm telling you this story because there's always a bright side. There's always something good that can happen from things that upset our lives. Even though we're like, really? You had to pick now to happen? You know, these flying monkeys that just kind of descend into our lives, you know, they don't ask us, well, is now a good time? They just pop in. And so earlier this year, in May, I received a phone call. And I had gone to have a mammogram. And so they found a very, 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 very small lump in my left breast. And it was cancerous. And I thought, well, this is going to be interesting. Okay, swooping monkey. I wasn't entirely ready for this. And I thought, well, this will be an interesting story I could tell everybody. It's like, what did Reverend Ronnie do on her summer vacation? Well, she decided that I guess she was going to experience a little bit of a discomfort and a dis-ease that we have named cancer. And I thought, okay, I can do this. So the afternoon that I found out, Janet was in the office with me, and it was interesting because I didn't feel a victim at all. I just said, okay, here we go. What is mine to know from this? And about 15 minutes later, she came in with this sweet little block. Whoops, there we go. And it says, "Things happen for a reason. Just believe." Yeah. And I've had this sweet little piece of silver with me ever since that day. It has been with me wherever I've gone. And so what I began to look at is, okay, what is this swooping monkey to me? My mother, my father, and my brother all died of cancer. But it was an external thing, it was not internal. So my mother started out with breast cancer because of hormones. My dad died because he smoked. And my brother, he was a hazmat materials fireman, so he unfortunately had that experience. So my mother, for 18 years, battled some sort of the disease. And I watched her go through it, and I went through it with her. And what I learned is that she didn't want anything to do with pink ribbons or any of that. And I thought, well, Mom, this is a support group. No, I don't want to deal with it. I don't want that. And I thought, wow, okay. But, you know, having the science of mind, within us, you just kind of know, okay, this or something better. And she did. She did that for 18 years until last year when she finally decided, okay, I'm done. I'm out of here. And she did. She did it peacefully, and she left. So with all of that in front of me, I looked at my experience, and I said, okay, what is mine to know about this little interloper that decided to descend upon my life? And I thought, I'm good. It's stage 1. It's nothing. Plus, it's so microscopic they could barely find it. In fact, just before surgery, we went in and they went to look for it, and the doctor could barely find it. She's like, I know it's here. I know it's here. And I said, well, and she's okay, it's there. So they found it. But anyway, and we scheduled surgery, and that was a whole nother thing with Mercury retrograde and all that. So, oh yeah, it's like, I got it delayed a few times, and I thought, okay, I'm not obviously, but you know what was really interesting is that I wanted the surgery at the end of August. Yeah, and that's when it happened. It was really funny. I thought, I did this. I made sure that it was when I wanted it, when I was comfortable. So it happened. And what I did is, in the process, is I starved it. I looked at the diet. I said, okay, no sugar. I looked at my diet of my mind. I looked at, everything that was going on around me. And I said, this is how I'm going to do this. This is how I'm going to process this. And then one of the things that kept coming up is the surviving thing. And I apologize to anybody who has been or has experienced cancer and done that. Survivor did not work for me. Survivor was a word that I felt was disempowering more than empowering. And I started looking at the whole cancer consciousness as a wholeness, and I thought, we're not victims. I refuse to be a victim. I refuse to let the flying monkey in my life carry me away and tell me that I'm a victim. I am not. I'm thriving, and I'm not only surviving, but I'm conquering. I've conquered it. I still have, some radiation things to do, but that's nothing. But I've conquered it. And I'm thinking, that's the way we are, is like we're thinking about any kind of dis-ease, whatever it is, and we're saying we're victims. What would it look like instead of playing the victim that we say, no, I've got this, I'm the conqueror. And if we leave because of whatever it has that's gone in our body, we've still conquered it. Because what happens is we've healed whatever it is. And I know this is going to be strange to understand, but what we understand in the science of mind is, even though we're praying for somebody to be healed when they're dying, they're really being healed when they're leaving, because they're releasing this body that no longer serves them. And so what I found in this experience is that I'm a conqueror, that it doesn't serve me. That, I'm still maybe going through a little bit of the experience, but I'm here, and I'm here to share and to love and to encourage people to not be victims, but to be in a consciousness of empowerment. That's what I feel I want to shift the consciousness. I really, truly want to shift the consciousness. And so the other thing, one more thing is, I had a genetic code thing done. They made me. They said, well, you have to have all this genetic things done. And I said, okay, fine, whatever. And they did. So the tests came back. They said, okay, this is really strange. And I thought, well, not with me. Because that's who I am. I mean, I'm the different person, or the abnormal. And she came to me, the genetic code doctor, and she goes, your DNA, the way it's written, shows that you should have no experience of cancer whatsoever. It's not written. And I said, really? And she says, yes, when in our DNA, if we are prone to have that disease, what happens is it shows up, and they can categorize it. They can say, okay, it'll show up like this, it'll show up like that, whatever it is. And mine came back and went, guess again. So I had absolutely none. And she said, this is highly unusual. And she says, the fact that you have a very microscopic lump. She says, but the fact that you're just experiencing as a whole, because your DNA code says no, she says, it's unusual. And I said, no, it's not. I said, it's okay, because I understand why I'm supposed to experience this. And of course, I love normal people. Because they do. They look at you and they go, have you ever seen a dog? They kind of look at you like that. And I'm like, I know, it's okay. I know I'm whole, perfect, and complete. And so that has been my little story the last few months. And I found this quote from Dennis Merritt Jones, and it says, "A whole and happy life is riddled with obstacles. They simply become the stepping stones that help lift us to a new perspective. It is not what happens to us, victim or victor. The choice is ours. As long as we inhabit these garments of flesh and bone, it is a choice we will have the opportunity to make many times over. It is all part of our journey along with this wonderful pathway of becoming more of that which we have come to be." And Parker Palmer said, "The spiritual gift on the inner journey is to know that creation comes out of chaos, and that even what has been created needs to be returned to chaos every now and then to get recreated in more vital form." Yes. "The spiritual gift on this inner journey is the knowledge that in chaos, I can not only survive, but I can thrive. That there is vitality in that chaotic field of energy. As we know, we are in control." Yes. And so it is. I love you, and may God bless us all.